much, Kate, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited to be facilitating today's session. As I look back to the last 13 years, I think I've been to over 120 copper skillet competitions over that time throughout the world, and I still get dizzy and excited at every one that I attend. They're just fantastic environments, and I get such pride from watching our IACC member chefs competing. So I'm excited today to have the opportunity to bring a panel of experts together to give you an introduction to the Copper Skillet competition and specifically the US and the Canadian competition to inspire you, encourage you to be a part of this fantastic global tournament that we have. Now, to give our esteemed experts a centre stage, I'm going to go off camera now, but you'll hear me guiding right the way through this session. And I look forward to the next 45 minutes by way of introducing you to this iconic competition. "30 minutes, 5 mystery proteins, 2 make the cut, 1 shot." Since 2004, IACC has handed its member venue chefs a basket of 5 mystery proteins and given them 30 minutes to build 2 identical plates fit for a room full of conference guests using exactly 2 of those proteins. A panel of professional competition-trained chefs scores every dish on taste, creativity, technique, presentation, and sustainability credentials.
Just one day I decided I want to do something creative. Entered culinary school, but then I didn't know the difference between dill and parsley, so it was chaos. But at the end of that 3 year, just found something really big in life, and since then I've been cooking every day, and it's the best thing I ever done.
It starts at a country cook-off and climbs through the chapter stage, Americas, Europe, Asia Pacific, to the global final. 2 categories, junior for 27 and under and senior category, because this is more than just a cook-off. It's professional development for chefs at every stage in their career.
The question I get a lot of times is, how can you spend so much time in the kitchen and it's gone in a few minutes? You cook for your family, you cook for your friends, you cook all day long, and then 10 minutes later, food is gone. And that's what it is about. It's about to see people in 10 minutes killing your food because it was so good. And then you spend a lot of time on it, but it's so nice to see it. After that, they're going to talk about it for hours.
Food isn't a footnote to the meeting, it's the part people remember, and the chef behind it is the difference. Food isn't a service, it's an experience. The Copper Skillet is where that belief gets tested. The basket's waiting. Show us what you do with it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if that doesn't inspire you to get to a Copper Skillet and start competing, I don't know what will. But let me just take this opportunity now to introduce you to the dates and the venues for the next 2 heats that we have. So first of all, we have our Canadian cook-off competition for our IACC Canada member venues. So that is taking place at the wonderful Spencer Hotel and Conference Centre in London, Ontario, just outside of Toronto. So there's a date for you for our Canadian competitors, and Murray Hall will be involved in that competition. And then for our US IACC Conference Centre and hotel and venue members, we have our wonderful US competition, and that's going to be taking place on November the 10th at the brand new, open last month, Virginia Guesthouse Hotel and Conference Centre at UVA in Charlottesville. And I was literally there yesterday, and it's an incredible property, an incredible team, and an incredible culinary environment as well. But let us move on because it's the voices of our experts, our previous competitors that you're really going to be listening to. And you saw one or two of those in that opening video there. First of all, I'm delighted to welcome Murray Hall, Regional Manager of Apprenticeship Services at Skills Trades Ontario, and our coveted 2014 Global Copper Skillet champion. Murray, good morning.
Good morning, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, and I'll note that you are our first chef to win the global competition using only plant-based proteins in your final dish. So, congratulations on being the first to do that and achieve that.
Thank you.
And then I would like to hand over to and welcome Felix Mayetta, Corporate Executive Chef for the mighty Nestle Professional Services Solutions organization, but previous Executive Chef for Sodexo Live and based at the Chase Center in Wilmington. That's where it all started. And Felix is both involved with helping us organize and stage great competitions for the US Cook-Off, but also that global final when we all come together at the Americas Conference in April. Good morning, Felix. Welcome.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you. It's great to be here. Exciting.
And then I'd like to welcome back to the IACC Copper Skillet scene after a few years away, Ron Stoddard, Executive Chef from Flick Hospitality Group. Ron has been an important part of our organizing committee over the years and formerly at the Summit Conference Center in Chicago. Good morning, Ron.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mark. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. And then last but not least, you saw him on the opening video, our champion of the 2019 Global Copper Skillet Cook-Off, Sebastian Leyen, Executive Chef from Deloitte University and Benchmark Hospitality. Good morning, Sebastian.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, now let's get into the detail. Let me start by asking you, Murray, why does copper skillet matter and what role does it play in elevating chefs in terms of professional development?
Thanks, Mark. That's a great question. I always view the copper skillet as the opportunity for me to step out of my comfort zone, the opportunity to try something new, the opportunity to show on a national stage, regional stage, and also global stage that that I had some fun. There was a lot of fun to work with plant ingredients. It was a lot of fun to actually work with your fellow chefs and compete in a competition. But it also gave the ability for, and I know my sales team also marketed it as well too. That was, oh, our chef is competing in a global competition or a national competition. But is I found it elevated. It brought different experiences for me. It brought different knowledge areas, different people I could communicate with, but more importantly, it brought a different level of culinary expertise. And it gave me the ability to network with fellow chefs and talk food and talk about trends, talk about what was up and coming, what are some of our challenges, and it gave me the opportunity to network and build some really fantastic, long-lasting relationships.
Amazing. Thank you, Murray. And Sebastian, we saw you go through the US, the Americas, and to the grand final. So it is a tournament. Can you expand on what Murray said and maybe with your experiences of the different stages and destinations you visited?
So I got the chance to participate twice, and then every time you win a chapter, you move on to the next one. So I get to go to a different city, which the great thing of doing this, you go to city first, the city I didn't know, Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Toronto, but you get to enjoy what's happening in the city, and you guys organize a few things too for us to do to not only visit like a cheesemaker, a farmer, a butcher, but also enjoy some of the food locally. Like I remember the last chapter when we did the global was in Toronto, so I got to enjoy the conference and then do a beer pairing and different things. But it's also meeting different chefs from different area, and I got the chance to also meet some of the chefs from Benchmark Hospitality who did the competition. So it was kind of great to
get together and know each other in those competition, and then move on to a different stage and learn different things.
It's so much bigger than just the competition itself. You're absolutely right. And I can make the note that when we go to Charlottesville in November, already Felix and the organizing team are looking to put on a culinary food and beverage study tour for the chefs there as well, because Charlottesville has just got so much to offer in that area. So thank you for that. Felix, if I can, you've been involved in the industry for many years. You've seen different competitions. What makes the Copper Skillet unique compared to other competitions?
Well, this competition is geared towards our sector of the industry, which is conference center dining. So it really gives the chefs the opportunity to shine and prepare food that they would serve to their conference center guests. It gives you the opportunity to really take a deep dive into what's really important to what we call inclusive dining, allergen awareness. Everybody that comes to your venue should have a great dining experience. It really kind of stretches you to think about how can I use the pantry ingredients to prepare a dish that I would serve out of my own kitchen, and know that everybody that's watching and enjoying really understands that if they come to an IACC venue or they come to your venue, this is the type of meal that they're going to receive. And so I think it's really unique to our industry, and it's unique to IACC. So if you get involved, you would be really proud and really stretched to make it happen.
Thank you very much, Felix. Well, listening to Felix, Sebastian, and Murray talking about both their experiences and the competition, I'm going to hand now to you, Ron. If you're a chef watching this and you're part of an IAC venue kitchen, why should they consider turning up and entering?
Well, I think what your chef said before is right on. I like stretching yourself, get out of your comfort zone, surround yourself by your peers, your colleagues, overall camaraderie. I know the coordinator is going to make it safe for you. I know there's maybe some anxiety about a competitor going into the national stage or regional stage like that. So they make it very comfortable as the ingredients. There's no curveballs like there used to be back in a long time ago. I know we did, I think we did just a Mark, to go back in the past, we did, I think, cheddar cheese as a protein one time and quinoa. That was a kind of a goofy competition, but we don't do that. I know that's not done anymore. I think the biggest stretch you guys said was you put like arborio rice out there just as like to see if someone's going to make a risotto. But
Yeah.
I know it's very safe competition. I know for me, looking at my sous chefs, my lead cooks, how do I get them to the next level? Could I use Copper Skillet to enhance their skills, to give them that support of the unit, the support from the food and beverage director, support from the general manager, support from myself, because I'm always looking how to make a lead cook a sous chef, how to make a sous chef an executive chef. The answer is not Copper Skillet, but it could be a good tool where I send them to Charlottesville and they take place in that competition and they get surrounded by like-minded folks, by the judges, by the coordinators, and really up their game. They come back, they had a great experience, and hopefully that spreads around the whole unit, the whole region. I'm dreaming here, and we get just so much involved, especially from those junior chefs that we want to promote in the field, in our career, in our environment, to really get them to take the next step. So
Great advice.
That's how I would tell people to really get involved with Copper Skillet.
Ron, thank you. Great advice there. And it is worth remembering that as well as showcasing just how good you are as an individual and your property, food and beverage, which of course is fantastic sales and marketing for the venue in talking to clients, in showing off, that professional development piece is super, super important. So that's really helpful to share that. Well, we're going to switch gears now. We're going to start to look at what the competition looks like, the rules, the environment. So as we move into there, anyone who's got any questions for the end, feel free to save them up. We'll come on camera, but also if you want to put them in the chat box, we'll address those at the end as well. But let us move now. Murray, you're going to walk us through this competition in terms of the categories, because it's not just one winner, is it? We have two distinct categories. Help us understand those.
Absolutely. Just want to follow up on what Ron was saying. We have a junior category and a senior category. In the junior category, that could be a great learning opportunity for those lead cooks, those chef de parties, junior sous chefs. A great area there. They can hone their skills and they can put themselves out there and have a little bit of fun. So we do have 27 years and under would qualify as a junior category, and we have 28 years and older, which would qualify for the senior category. The rules remain the same, but you'll be competing against like-minded chefs within your age group under each of the categories.
Wonderful. Thank you. And talk us through the timelines now and what does a competition look like from start to finish?
Competition is it's very well orchestrated. We do have definitely the timelines are there for everybody. The competition timelines, you have a 15-minute planning period. So when you walk into the room, you'll have 15 minutes to review all the food. The mystery ingredients will be revealed to you. You'll be able to look at all the products that you'll be able to work with. And as Ron indicated, this is a friendly competition, so there is no cheddar cheese and quinoa or all green vegetables and nothing on the table. So it is very well spread out ingredient wise that you can create a great dish. We definitely want to make sure everybody is successful, but 15 minutes is your planning period. Write your menu, write your work plan, gather your ingredients. You can't start cooking yet, but the countdown timer is on. There's a lot of people usually in that space wanting to talk to you, wanting to kind of get, what are you thinking about, chef? So it's a great area to network as well too, and and also focus on what you're planning and deliver your work plan. After the 15 minutes is over, 30 minutes is going to be your actual cooking time. So within those 30 minutes, you're going to have to do two identical plates using two of the mystery proteins. Sorry, thank you, Mark. The mystery proteins. So the mystery proteins that we're going to have is going to be two meats, one fish, and two plant-based products. You can take a combination of either one of those. One of the competitions I leaned heavily into was plant forward, so I focused predominantly on the plant-based products, but a mix between both is absolutely fine, but as long as you use two of those mystery proteins in your final two dishes.
Amazing. Thank you very much for walking us through that. And Ron, tell me, in your experience, you've seen many of these, what catches competitors out the most?
What catches them out? What catches them up during the competition? Is that what you're asking, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the time. Chefs aren't really paying attention to the time. I know there's timers around. We're constantly walking around telling about the time, and it's tough. 30 minutes seems like a long time, but it's not. Once you start cooking, you have to make two identical plates. You're going back and forth grabbing mise en place. Some chefs, they want to stop. They want to prepare everything at the last minute, kind of a la minute to put those garnishes on. I'd say, you know what, just finish everything as fast as you can. I know there's comments have made that the food's done too early. It goes to the judges and might sit there for 15, 20 minutes. But you know what? The judges know it's a competition. It's not hot held. There's no heat lamps, and they're going to keep that in mind. So just be wary of the time and just work straight through. Don't stop and hold something back. Give it everything you got in that 30 minutes.
Great advice. Thank you, Ron. And now just a little bit of an open conversation with all four of you. What are the skills chefs are going to take away, from being in that environment? And I know one of them is you're cooking with very limited space and two burners and very specific tools, which we'll talk about equipment in a minute. But what skills do individuals take away from going through this experience?
Time management for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that, in our kitchens when we're putting together a large event, the timeline is important. And so, it's really about critical thinking and being able to think your way through the process. At what point in time do I need to start this? At what point in time do I need to start that? When can I work on the sauce? So it really helps you stay very focused and stay very organized. And that's needed in any kitchen anywhere, as a chef or a cook that is organized and can really work within the time frame.
Great. Thanks, Phoenix.
The one thing
Sebastian.
I would add is portion control. have a look at what you're doing. You're only making 2 plates. So really having a good, clear view on how much food you're putting on each plate is great. And that skill comes right back to, directly relates back to what you're doing in your operations, back in your conference centers, of trying to reduce waste, trying to utilize product efficiently. So portion control, I think, would be a great piece to pull away from that.
That's a really good point, Murray. And we actually, as we'll hear a little bit later about the scoring criteria, you make a point when it comes to sustainability and waste, and reducing those. It is something that's measured in terms of the waste, and those chefs we're seeing being super creative. If they're peeling something and they can use the peelings somewhere else within the dish. The sustainability angle and waste management is a big part of it, as well as all the other elements that you saw in the opening video. So really good point. Any other last skills that you've taken away as individuals?
Yeah, what one thing I learned with the different stage that I've done, it's the timing and the planning. But the first time I did it in 17, we actually had only one burner and one pan. And I was worried about how I'm going to cook a whole dish uh, with one pan and one burner. So I actually spent an afternoon to trying to figure out how long it takes to cook things and how to stage my process to get to the final product at the end. Also, one thing I learned during the competition is that you have a basic pantry, but whatever you go after that to a different location, it might not be the same. I remember in 19, first round was in here in Dallas, in Texas. It was probably the best spread I've seen in the pantry. They had everything you couldn't think of. So you could be creative, a lot of things. But then the next step, I went against Canada, a different venue. We had the bare minimum. And when I said the bare minimum, it was really bare. My first thinking was like, well, we're all on the same page, so we all have to do. But I had to adapt about all about what I had to pick and then what I needed to do. But timing and planning, it's definitely number one things. The last thing I learned too is like how long it takes for the judge to actually test your food. It could be 30 minutes, could be 45 minutes, could be an hour. So you have to make sure your food sits well all the way to when it gets to the judge. Because I've seen some chef doing things that by the time he gets to the judge was not looking as pretty when it was when they first did it on the plate. So you have to think about those things about your cooking. How it's going to sit, how it's going to get when it gets cold, how it's going to look, is it going to stay crunchy, or all those little things.
All your experiences are really valuable for our chefs sitting here listening, planning for, for their taking part. So thank you for sharing all of that advice there. And now you've touched upon one or two elements that we're going to cover now in full, which is Felix, you're going to talk us through, what the room setup is, what the station setup, the equipment that's provided, the equipment that you can bring as a chef, the pantry setup, and we'll go through all of that just to give our chefs a good idea of what the environment's like. So happy to hand over to you to guide us through those pieces.
Yeah, sure. So this would be a typical station for a competing chef, and every station will be the same and will be set in the same manner. I'm usually there a couple hours prior to the competition, and usually Kate and I go around and we just, we have this template and we look at every station to be sure that we have a cutting board, that we have two burners that work, and that there's extra butane available should anybody need it. Gloves, cutting board, disposable hand wipes, salt and pepper. And then you can see the list of utensils: tongs, spatula, tasting spoons, slotted spoon, squeeze bottle, and a whisk. Aluminum foil, and that's great if you're searing a protein and you want to rest it. You can wrap it in foil. And then two mixing bowls, a saucepan for grains or pasta, and then two saute pans to work with, and then your trash bin. Um, what we don't see on, I'm sorry, and two serving plates. Um, One thing that we'll have to add to this list, Mark, is a container for waste. So we usually have
That's right.
a clear container on each station, and all of your waste will go into that. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to portion control, because we will take a look, and this is really important if the competition is really, really close between chefs. That could be the deciding factor. Well, this one did a great job, but look at the waste. So the judges are going to lean more towards who used the product most in the most efficient manner. Um,
Wonderful.
one thing that we don't provide, and I'm just going to make note of this now, was that a pocket test thermometer is highly desirable. We've had one or two competitions where chefs turned in their plates and they were beautiful and they looked great, but the protein was so undercooked we couldn't taste it. So very important. It's a professional tool that you should have in your pocket at all times.
So Felix, the chefs can bring a thermometer. They can bring a regular peeler. That's
Hmm.
correct, and then
Yeah,
their own set of knives.
own set of knives, correct.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And just to share with you as well, the typical pantry setup. There's an image from one of our last competitions in 2023, but they do vary, as Sebastian said. Felix, what will you find in the pantry, and both related to seasonality and also importantly, what won't you find in the pantry table?
Well, we try to keep the pantries to be very seasonal with vegetables and starches and grains. We will always have butter and stocks and wines to cook with. You won't find pre-cut items, pre-cut vegetables. You won't find processed plant-based items. The mystery proteins. Will be not revealed until the very last minute, but you will have a very ample selection of products to work with, and we try to make it so that we make your decision making easy. Where you have items that you can cook in 30 minutes or less. There will be some challenging, items, but that's where your skill set comes in. You could break potatoes down into smaller dice to make them cook quicker. We'll have pasta and grains, but we try to stay away from risotto or arborio rice.
Unless you're
But
really brave.
yes, unless you're really brave. Lots of fresh herbs. There won't be any flavor enhancers, chicken base, beef base, anything like that. But you'll have a neutral stocks, a vegetable stock, a beef stock, and a chicken stock to work with as well.
Thank you for guiding us through that, Felix. And
Hmm.
now I'm going to move over to Murray. The judges that will be there. Typically, there are three or four judges, right, Murray? What is it they're looking for, and and how are they breaking down and scoring each plate?
Absolutely. The judges are really looking for what is a taste, flavor, taste, and texture. That is going to be the largest point area that you definitely want to focus on. Presentation, portion size, and creativity and innovation are both very close seconds to that. Professional skills and techniques. I'm sorry. 10 points. Sanitation and food handling is 5 points, and food waste efficiency. And what Felix referred to earlier, sometimes we have to look right in the 10 points, 5 points, 5 point areas to see who has that deciding factor if the competition is really close. And we've seen a lot of circumstances where the competitions are very, very close. The food looks fantastic. It's cooked properly. But then also now we have to go back and okay, how much waste did that person actually accumulate within that area? How clean was their station? Was there any food safety concerns that were noted by the judges as well too? Just because it's a competition doesn't mean that you know, lack the food safety that we all know. Clean your cutting boards, sanitize properly. Keep your station clean as well too. And all that goes that little bit extra to make sure that you have hopefully the best chance of being successful with the competition. The one thing we will add just at the bottom here is there will be a 10-point reduction if a chef does not present their plate to the judges. That is up to 3 minutes late. So once the 30-minute competition is over, those plates should be in front of the judges. If you are delayed, you will be docked 10 points. If you're longer than 3 minutes delayed, you will be disqualified. So please make sure, as to Ron said, you're following that time.
There's certainly a lot of movement of chefs when it comes to that last minute, and you can present early, right, Murray? So there's nothing to say you
Yes.
have to put the plate down before. The key is not presenting too early. To Sebastian's point, you don't want your dish standing around for too long, and that one of those dishes goes to the judges. The second dish is put on the central table, and it's probably worth me explaining that the competition isn't a closed competition. There will be conference attendees, there will be fellow IAC members, there'll be chefs' colleagues who have come to watch, there may be meeting planners there. There is a room full of people watching the chefs at work and really cheering them on. So it's a fantastic environment, but it's not a closed room. And so those chefs need to plate and put out onto those two tables in good order. Thank you for that. That's really clear. I'll open this up to any of you who wish to answer it. What separates a good dish from a winning dish?
I can start off. That if the dish should fall between, I think Felix referred to this earlier, within what you would serve at your conference center. So have a look at what the portion size is, have a look at the ingredients, and have a look at is this a dish you could potentially serve to a group of 50 to 100 people? So kind of having that mindset moving in definitely gives you the advantage.
Amazing.
Yeah, a good balance in your dish makes a difference. Make sure it's cooked the right way, and also think about like Murray just said about the convention aspect of it. Because I remember my first time I did in 17 against Canada. I think I went a little too fancy, and the judge didn't think he was meeting the conference center aspect of it. And he told me at the end that's the reason I lost a lot of points, that they didn't think it was fitting what the competition was about. So always think about those little things, little detail.
Yeah. And knife skills are important too. Knife skills and presentation, how you present. I mean, the judges are walking around, they're observing everything. Um, we talk about if it's okay to plate up a couple minutes early if you're finished and you feel comfortable like that. But it's good to know that, the judges are looking, if you're searing a protein, are you searing it properly? Is it developing a good crust? Are your knife cuts, if you're doing a brunoise, is it brunoise? Or are they, not consistent? So you want to pay attention to those details because, um, you know, people eat with their eyes. Judges will often score with their eyes as well, too. So those details are important.
Yeah, from my experience too, it's always been about the flavor, the taste, the presentation. Like you said, Felix, the judges are walking around. They'll make side comments like, "Hey, do you see that guy over there? They used didn't sanitize their station between dishes or between doing a product or whatever they're processing." So, yeah, those are all good points.
And that does lead you into the common mistakes that cost points, right, Ron? That's a good example, and you've seen them. And you talked of portion size. That can be both too small and too big, right, Felix? So judges will
Absolutely.
mark down. Is it too much food on the plate? Is it again disproportionate to what you'd expect in a conference dining portion size, environment? Wonderful. Well, let's move into the next stage, which I'd like Sebastian to just share with us what competition day feels like. And at each stage, whether it's US, America's global final, what does it feel like as a chef competing?
Well, first the competition himself, I think it's like it's fun, but it's also an excitement, and you go to different step about seeing the venue, then you get presented, then you get in the room, there's people all around you, then it's the reveal of the protein. So you're like, okay, what I'm gonna do, what I'm gonna use. Then you see the pantry, you have the 15 minutes to get ready and have a plan. Uh, I remember one of them we had fish, but it was the whole fish. So we had a fillet, one of the fish, and I could see in the face of some of the chefs like panicking about like what I'm gonna do. That was interesting. It was fun, but also the step, the people around you. I remember one of the stage I had, there was that lady who was like glued to my station, and every time I was doing something she was asking question. It's like, why are you
Yeah.
doing this, why are you doing this, why are you doing that, why not you doing that, why are you taking this? It was a little bit, I mean, don't forget you have the 30 minutes to get what you need to do and have the plan, and have that lady keep asking questions. So I thought it was a little funny in a way, but it didn't stop me to do what I was doing. But it was pretty interesting.
It's truly a unique environment, right? That you're working in, and that's a good example of one of the challenges. You mentioned as well some of the surprises that are there, but the surprises that everybody has. So thinking on your feet. As you talk through this from a perspective of, what competition day feels like, what does it feel like at the end? And consider this maybe in relation to for chefs that are doing it for the very first time, because I'm sure there's apprehension, there's unknowns as they go into the competition. There are only two winners, but from your experience around the chefs and the relationships you've had on the day, how do those chefs who go through the process, through the competition for the first time, how do they feel at the end? And do we see them come back again?
I know from the two times I've seen a few chefs coming back doing it. I remember that junior chef, from he was actually from College Station in Texas. Uh, he was there every year, and every time he was winning one step, but we couldn't get all the way. I forget his name, but he was always there. There was few chefs I've seen coming back. I did only twice, so it's not like I've seen many of them. Uh, um, so I'm not sure overall if chef go back, try. I know the previous chef of this property uh, went back every year for 5 years, couldn't make past to the US step, so he was getting frustrated about it. But it's at the end, I think is when you're done after your 30 minutes, you're like, I can't believe I made it. Sometime I can't believe I did that in 30 minutes, and then you're kind of like looking at it like, yo, wow, this is crazy. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
And
You make that happen.
it gives you the appetite to do more of that sort of stuff, to get out in front of, be on stations in your conference center environment where there's customers, where you're doing a live station with conference delegates talking to you, right? Maybe it takes you from being an introvert to actually
Mhm.
being happy to be on, back at your property. Murray, hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but it took you a number of attempts to get to achieve the global final in 2014. So you definitely had the bit between your teeth that you were going to go again, go again, go again.
Yeah, I think it was on the fifth or sixth attempt that I got the global competition. I finally won the global competition.
Wow.
Yeah, I owned the Canadian competition for a number of years, but it was always that the bigger frying pan I was after, right? So that more recognition piece, but absolutely. But Mark, each time I went to the competition, I sometimes got to see chefs that I'd worked with in the past or competed against with the past, but it was more, it continue to build my confidence within the competition space, but also within my networking space, my ability to walk up to a whole bunch of people I've never met before and introduce myself. So it gave me a lot of comfort level around that, which was, those people skills, those soft skills, but also being able to network with like-minded chefs about trends and stuff that was coming up and, create some great connections. So it was a very valuable experience and had a lot of fun with it.
Amazing. Well, thank you. And I promised to these were all great insights from you. I promised to give some minutes at the end for Q&A. And Ryan, thank you for leading the charge, coming on camera. I encourage everyone to come on camera and just open up your microphones to ask any of our incredible experts here any questions in relation to the competition.
Thanks, guys. I don't have any specific questions at the time, just digesting everything that you guys have shared. Really interested. Our locations in the UK will be hosting the UK tournament, which comes up, I believe, later this week. But excited to kind of jump into this convenient hospitality group to, send some participants, some candidates to enter this competition. So thanks for the information, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And yes, we're excited to have a copper skillet competition in London at ETC County Hall. And yes, and a future competition at one of your properties in the US would be amazing. But no, thank you for that. Well, if there are no other questions, I'll just take this opportunity again to remind you of the competitions that are coming up. So first of all, we have the Canadian Copper Skillet competition. If you go to the IACC website, go to our events and webinars page, and in our events page you'll see in date order the competition as it's here, and then if you scroll down there is our chef's registration process. Very straightforward. Name, conference venue details, and by the way, each conference center that is an IACC member can send one junior and one senior, so they can have two chefs competing. They just can't have multiple chefs from the same venue. So it's quite often great to see a senior chef accompanying their junior chef and really helping each other. And that's great to see. So we're at the Spencer Hotel and Conference Centre on September the 14th for the Canadian members, and then we're at the brand new Virginia Guest House Hotel and Conference Centre in Charlottesville. And there is that study tour as well, I mentioned, with details to be announced very soon on November 10th. So I hope that all of you that have been able to listen to our experts and our organising committee have taken away the confidence and enthusiasm to compete in the competition. And we look forward to seeing you in the Canadian and US cook-offs. And I hope going on to our global final in April 2027. But thank you very much all, and wish you all a great rest of your week.